Oh, Dynamite Delight, my darling, what the heck did you give me? You, I'm gonna tell you. Was this Dynamite bad? No. Was it one of the best shows I've ever seen? No. But it had some surprises in it and progression of story. But there were certain things I'm going like, why? 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 And what the hell, is he hurt? That's the best way you could say the show. You go like, a good show, but it wasn't spectacular. Then you go, why? 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 Then also you go, well, that makes sense. They got to progress something. And then finally at the end, is he hurt for real? Okay. Let's start with the Dynamite Diamond Ring match. Juice Robinson versus MJF. No, wait. God, I gotta wind that back. Rock hard. Rock hard. Juice Robinson. I'm sorry. I'm going like, what made them come up with the idea of being rock hard? Or is it rock hard? Which rock hard we talking about? Because it ain't up here. He got little pebbles in the skull. So either he's, or, ow, gotta be careful because I keep forgetting my hip is messed up. But you get my point. Which rock hard are we talking about? But, was it a bad match? No. At one point, Juice started bleeding. Someone decided blood was required. And the problem is, for the entire year, let me ask you, have you figured out how many times either Moxley bled or anyone else in the company has bled within this year? Because I lost count. It's over 20 times by now. Because we are talking about the entire year. We're talking about Dynamite. We're talking about what? Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. Not even talking about ROH. Just Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision. I'm sure it's nearly 20 times already that we either saw Moxley bleed or someone else bleed. At least 20 times this year. If I'm wrong, well, fine. I'm wrong on my numbers. It's way less than that. But I do not think I'm wrong. I am thinking it's nearly that. If it isn't almost at it, it is. And Juice Robinson just adds on top of that. And I'm going like, really? You didn't need it. You didn't need Juice to bleed. Now, mind you, if it was an accidental bleeding, which it could have been, I'm kind of on the fence of it. It looks like it was him actually blazing himself. It happens. But literally, I'm going like, they didn't need to do that. Now, did it help the match? For many people who were watching at home and was watching in the arena, yes. There's more than a few people who loved seeing MJF having to deal with Juice bleeding and then going, licking the blood. Ugh. That, you gotta understand. Licking human blood is completely, totally different than animal blood. It is different. It is a different taste. Trust me, I know. I had to, when I got my teeth taken out, the taste of human blood compared to animal blood, I've tasted it a couple of times in my life, is and it's not fun. But it did help the match. And the kangaroo kick still is popular because he pulled it off. In the end, he won. And I know I'm glazing over the opening of the show when MJF was approached by OGK and Roderick Strong. I'm going to get that in a minute because he does come out after the match is over. But I'm going to tell you this. Let me make this clear to y'all. I got to say it like that. When you see MJF, he is a great showman at 26, 27 years old. He has done very well for himself. He's developed himself outside WWE. Many people say WWE always makes a wrestler. Not every time. Sometimes they're already made outside. And he is one of them. Now, can they improve on him? Hell yeah. But as it stands, when he says he's a generational talent, it's obvious he is. So when the match was over, and pretty much MJF wins, we get a little bit of attack from the Bang Bang Gang. Then we had OGK and Roderick Strong trying to come out and help, but really didn't that much. And then we get the Acclaim coming out. Now, Roderick Strong backed away with the OGK. They were driven out, and you hear a little bit of Jay White making it very clear. Let me give it to you like this. Did he do an effective promo trying to hype that match at Full Gear? It was effective. Was it charismatic effective? Because you gotta not just relay it, you also have to relay it in a way that draws people in to make them hate you more or love you more. He did an okay job, but he's not MJF. I'm not against Jay White. He's a little bit younger in the business, I believe, than, well, is he? No, he's roughly around the same time, I believe. But essentially speaking, or a little bit before him, but essentially speaking, Jay White, he's good, but he's not great. MJF is great. And he made it very clear that he is going to get back to Triple B because he's going to get two other people to work with him. Now, guess what? OGK and Strom tried to say, hey, he's screaming at him, Maxwell. I think he said Maxwell. Screaming at Maxwell, and Roderick is doing such a good job being the most annoying heel. He's not being a chicken shit heel. He's not being a stupid heel. He's not being a badass heel. He is being an annoying heel. And he's doing pretty damn good at it. He is freaking annoying. Screaming, Adam! Maxwell! He's annoying. And he's done a great job at it. But he's expecting him to take him. He said, no, just wheel your ass out of there. I'm finding someone else. He doesn't say it. And then you get Caster. He wants to be by MJF's side so bad. And MJF admits something. He says, look, I've known you a long time. I've known you 10 years since I was 18 years old. No, not 18. I've known you since I was 18, he said. And I've never liked you. And hell would freeze over before I even go near you. And he wanted to at least do a scissor because he said no. And he didn't give it to him. So the question is going to be, who is going to be the team? Now, here's where it gets interesting. As he walks away and Cass is rejected, we get Kenny coming out and pretty much saying, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you because you're going through a lot of mess here. But you're still champ. I want a shot at you. And he says, roughly speaking, he says, I want a shot. He's showing him respect, but he wants a shot. And he says, okay, you got it. But when I see this, it is an opportunity to make the most sense because obviously what I'm getting is that you're going to have Kenny who wants a shot. And that will be on Collision this Saturday. Then after that's over, in the back when he gets interviewed again, and that's MJF by a Renee. Well, let me give it to you like this. When Samoa Joe comes out, he pretty much says, I respect you. You've done well, but you're in trouble. I'll be your friend. And he shakes his hand and said, but I want a damn shot at the damn title too. So I thought at the time before a Samoa Joe came out and Renee, I'm thinking the Bucks were going to team up with him. But it could be a possibility that it's going to be Samoa Joe and Kenny, this Dynamite coming so he can get his damn title back. So, yes, Kenny pretty much might lose his opportunity because you're going to see the Bang Bang Gang mess him up. And then it's going to be Kenny and it's going to be Samoa Joe teaming up with MJF on Wednesday because they don't want the Bang Bang Gang and Jay White to keep that damn title. That's what I think is going to happen. It makes the best sense. Now, let's go to match 2. Dark Order versus Hook and RVD. RVD is very over in Philly. That's obvious. But what was stated by Taz was actually very poignant. And I don't think he was overplaying it. I think he was genuinely surprised because he probably didn't know at first. He probably didn't know that RVD was going to be teaming up with his son in the same town that he made his name in. He didn't know it was going to happen again. It was going to be a one-off. But now it's a second one, and the way Taz acted was honestly genuine. I truly believe he did not expect that a guy he used to have a rivalry with, who is his best friend and probably in actuality is close to him, knows Hook's real name, knows Hook, and Hook could call him like Uncle Rob in real life, is teaming up with him. And I think that was really poignant. And this is where I think I would like to see something different when it comes to Taz. Because Taz, as a commentator, when he's not having some type of conflict with Tony Schiavone, because when counting on when they don't go to commercial, we don't hear what they're saying, you can tell sometimes they step on each other's toes a lot, on and off. Not that they don't have some level of respect, but it does tend to happen. I would love to see Taz as the manager for RVD and his son Hook, and let them go after the tag titles together. And Taz can pretty much, through his son, have something he probably hasn't had in a long time. A win with a good friend that he's known for decades in an RVD. I think that would be something very poignant, since Taz can never go back in the ring again with his broken neck. He just can't. And if he could, he's not interested in doing it, which is understandable. If he broke his neck and there's a very strong chance he can never go back again, and if he takes a bump and it will hurt him, he's not going to go back in the ring. Now, mind you, it could still be wrong, but I think he just can't. They won the match. But I'm going to say this when it comes to Johnny Hungy, Meat Man, John Silver. I still wish he would leave AEW and go to Impact Wrestling. I think he will have a better time in the X division than he would here, because he's not really doing much with Reynolds. They multiple chances to try and do something with them, and they've done nothing with them. I would expect them to at least be tag champs once, even if it's ROH's titles, and they've never gone anywhere with them. They're like the Butcher and the Blade. They've never gotten anywhere. And I'm just saying. Now, the next match, and they didn't have that many matches in the show, and this is where I'm going like, why? Why Ruby Soho and Hiro Kushida? I don't know what was going on in that match. I know many people say, dude, the match was fine. No. Look, I've seen Hiro Kushida wrestle, and I've seen Ruby Soho wrestle, and both of them can have chemistry together, no problem. This was not that night, because that match did not look right, because either they were off or someone was hurt. That match did not look good. That match looked like it was just like Ruby would either, if neither one of them are hurt, and there was no problem with chemistry, because I'm sure they could have good chemistry. This is what I thought. If neither one of them is hurt, and they weren't having an off day, someone was not happy about what was going to happen in that match. Because the person that should have won was not Hiro Kushida. It should have been Ruby Soho. In fact, I'm saying this honestly. Ruby should have already held the TBS title, but they wouldn't let her have it. Ruby, if it's not Saraya, Ruby should have won the damn title, and then they could have saved this match for the beginning of next year for a Tony Storm, or my Timeless Tony. I may just call him my Timeless Tony, because damn, that woman is really making that character work. That woman, damn, let's make it in a perfect perspective. I can understand why they did it. They don't want Hiro Kushida to lose the title. But it would have been a way more better storyline for Tony Storm to be taking it off of Saraya or taking it off of Ruby Soho. I understand the reason why they didn't do it. I understand the reason why they couldn't do it, because they just didn't want to make her drop it so quickly. I know. But it would have been better if Saraya kept the title, if there was no issue with her, if she's not having a problem or she doesn't have any type of commitments, because we never know if she's working on something, that she's fine. Either Saraya or Ruby should have been allowed to either keep either the world title in Saraya or gain the world or the TBS title in the Ruby Soho and let pretty much Tony get it. But here it's nothing. And now we're going to have her go up against Hikaru Shida. And I'm going to say this right now because we still got a while to go before Full Gear because the match is going to happen. If Timeless Tony does not win, then everything she went through trying to put that damn character over, which, understand, they finally showed not on a commercial her stuff, but literally showed it and showed her getting a new manager from when RC I always forget RC City's name, the first letters. What's it? RC City? I always forget his name. Well, let me give it to you like this. Seeing that she now has Luther as her butler. Actually, I could feel that. She is a starlet. She is the only diva in AEW history. She's the first and only one right now. She's the first one. She's got herself over. People love the character. People love the videos. People love it being in black and white. And I think that Darby Allin might have directed it and said, you know what you need? You need to do it in black and white. Be something old, nostalgic. Be something that is classic. Have everything in black and white like in the talkies. Now, if you don't know what I mean by talkies, well, not talkies, but pretty much the non-talkie movie or picture show, as they used to say. Now, what do I mean by that? Just a little bit of movie bufferage, if you will, if I'm right. Because as far as I remember, and what I was told as a kid from a relative who worked in movie theaters, this is what he told me. He told me back in the 1920s and 1930s, they didn't have sound. And that was when I was young, back in the 70s. Of course I know now. But they had no sound. What they used to do, in some cases, they would do it in a hall or in a church. And what they would do, if you've never seen it yourself, and there's many people here that are well younger than me in their 30s, have never even seen a DVD player or a VCR, some of them. Back then, they would use they would put it on screen in a hall or in a church. And they would play a piano sometimes, or an organ for the noises, for the music, for the voices. And that's what we got with Toni Storm. She is a nostalgia, a throwback so far back, no one would ever think about it. She's not doing the 1950s, 60s, or 70s when I was born, which is 52 years ago. No. She's going well beyond that, to the point where my mother was born. Understand, my mom was born 1929, and anything before 1929 didn't have always sound in it, didn't have voices yet. Anything before the 1930s to 40s didn't all have sound. When they did, they were called talkies. And this is what she is, and that's why I'm dragged this out, because I loved it. It was awesome. Let's move on. Let's move on to the Sting gift. We had Sting coming out when Tony Schiavone called him. It was no Tony Khan, it was Tony. And that was fine. I'm glad it was not Tony Khan. He needs, and I made a video about him, he needs to step back. Do not be in front of the screen anymore. Do not go to any podcast for a while. Let his wrestlers do it. If he's ever seen in a podcast or an interview, it has to be very rare. Not because he can't talk. Not because he is not a wrestler. It's just that he's taking away from the company. He's not helping it. He's hurting the company by making it more about him than it is about the wrestlers that are in the damn ring that could be doing all that and drumming up interest for his product. But when Tony Schiavone called in Sting and Darby Allin, who's in a sling, because I do believe he was doing one of those stunts at least a couple of weeks ago. He already hurt his arm already. And when he did a stunt by trying to do an Evel Knievel backflip and landed on his shoulder, which was already messed up, I think he dislocated it. And supposedly at this point, he's training for Mount Everest. Guys, this guy who takes bumps harder than anyone in the damn company or any general company is hurt, and he's still training for Mount Everest, 20,000 or 25,000 feet. Boy, youth and madness, they go together well sometimes. But when he called them out, Sting pretty much put over the fans and put over Darby. And he made it very clear he's never had a partner like him ever in his career. And many people were pretty much trying to say, and he said, I know what you're talking about, but at this point, he's the real deal. He's earned it. And I thank you. And I thank you for giving me these chances. And he thanked Tony Khan for calling him back in 2021 because he had a chance to do things his way. Now, Tony Schiavone made it very clear. At this point, I got a little gift for you that came from Tony Khan. And it was a freaking Nature Boy Ric Flair. Makes sense. He's now in AEW. No one ever thought he would always generally, particularly after his last match, which was a shambles. Which I did do a Gump report on. If you want to know what my thoughts are on Ric Flair and his last match, I made one months ago on what happened in the ring that pissed me off. And if you don't know what it is, he fell asleep on the damn mat on the last match. Yes, look it up. You can find it I didn't put it in a playlist, but you can find it. Look through all the videos. It's not too far back. It's only a few months. You'll be able to find it all about Rick fall asleep in the ring. But here, coming in, talking to Sting, saying that he wants to be with him on his last ride before he's out, which is 5 months from now, because Revolution, who was it that said Full Gear 2024? Was it Excalibur? Or was it Taz? I think it was Excalibur accidentally said that he's ending in 2024, not Revolution, but Full Gear. I think he made a mistake. I could be wrong though. But it's only about 5 months away, I think. I think it's like 5 or 6 months away when the next Revolution comes. If it's going to be in March again, we got 5 months. November, December, January, February, March is 5 months. Not counting this month, which is almost finished. Whew, I'm hoping Sting works in the back. I'm hoping he stays in the company and he doesn't just walk away from wrestling. I don't believe he should. They need him. But Rick said, I'm going to be with you to your last match, which is great. Rick's on the roster. He's now with Andrade, El Elio, because he's on the roster. And he could do double duty. He can be working with Darby and with Sting. And he also could be working with El Elio in the back. He could be there with his son-in-law. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm glad he's finally there. And the best heel in the company. And as the Slug Daddy said, the young lion of Christian Cage. I gotta say it because let's be honest. This is one of the best heel work he's done in a while. He is being vicious. Talking about the only thing he didn't do, which I wish he kind of did, but then it might go a little cut too deep. Like I said, him falling asleep on the damn apron while he had his last match, he could have gone there and everyone would have said, ooh, that would have been one of the most deepest cuts you could do to Rick on his last match while Taker was there. But it didn't go there. He talked about him being old. He's surprised he's alive. He should have been dead 20 years ago. And pretty much, I need to get rid of you. And that's Darby. And let's get this done. Next week, I'm going to end you. And he's talking about Sting. I don't care about you waiting to the end of your run. I want you gone now. And Darby, you're never going to get this title. But Sting, I want you gone now. So next week, it's us against you two. And if you want to use this old decrepit old man in a Ric Flair, fine. Or somebody else. I don't care. Bring them. And what they did was to see Adam, who was in the back, who was questioned about what Christian said to Ric Flair, what was shown. And this, I believe, was one of the best things. Sting confronted Adam. And he said, you need to wake up. I knew the dirtiest player in the game. He was in the ring with me. I knew Lex Luger, how nasty he could be. You got to take the blinders off. And he grabs him to try to get him to see that you need to stop because it's coming. You are going to see something bad happen. Even though Adam does not want to go there, He's going to be pushed into it. That is their third person. It is obvious it's going to happen. Now, if it doesn't happen, I'll be surprised. But I do believe it's going to happen. Let's see. What else am I missing? I think I'm going to leave it for Warlow's vid pack. Because I'm going to leave it even though I could talk about it. I'm not going to talk about his feelings with MGF. I want to see what the next video is going to be. I haven't forgotten about Warlow. I'm going to leave it. It was okay. It was good for what it was. But they need to add on top of it. Kind of like what happened with Powerhouse Hobbs. They need to do another video and add on top of his rage. If they don't, and they just show the same thing again and again, it's not going to make any sense. It needs to be more. Let's see here. What am I forgetting? The final match of the night. Oh no. Swerve Strickland was what he did after the Trios ROH tag match. And that was the Elite versus the Hardys and Brothers Zeal. I won't say he's not doing at least something after Private Party broke up. But Brothers Zeal, I don't know what to think of him, but he's alright. Of course Elite won. But when you see Strickland in the house of Hangman, goes through his house, tears up a picture his child drew, and then goes into the room with a shirt, leaves it in the crib, and then says, your daddy messed me over. I need payment, but I'm not going to do it now. I'm just leaving this in here, threw it in there, and walks away. Honestly, I'm going to tell you the truth. What did I think of this? No. But not what you think. You're thinking, oh, of course, you don't want to bring a child into this. No, this is not about a child. Because they did that in WWE when it came to Johnny Gargano, his wife, Candice LeRae, and their child. They were willing to go there. It's not about that. This is about why didn't they do it? Guys, why didn't Swerve just take his child and leave with Prince Nana? Why didn't they do it? Why didn't they just kidnap the kid and move on with that? I think that would have been the best thing. That they start doing the vignettes before Full Gear, that he took the child, the police can't find him, and when they try to arrest him at Dynamite, they can't because the child is with a nanny hidden somewhere and he won't tell. And the only way to get the kid back is with a match at Full Gear. That would have been something better than just leaving a shirt in there. I think they could have gone there. I really do believe so, but that's just me. Let's move on to the final match. Where I'm going, is he hurt? And that is Okada. Okada and Orange Cassidy versus Claudio and Bryan Danielson. Love the match. Very good match. And it went well. People were anticipating finally when Okada and Bryan got back in the ring, and since Okada broke his arm, they want to see how far they're going to go with it. But, of course, Blackpool Combat Club won, and it was Orange who took the pin. They weren't going to do anything with Okada. But here's where it gets interesting. After the match was over, Bryan was holding his face like this, heavily, like he got hit hard, purposely. They went and got ice and put it on his face. They were saying cut. Now, didn't know what happened. Of course, now I know that he took 2 pain makers to the face, and I believe also an elbow to the face. And that is when he started acting like that on his left side. Have no idea if it's real. It might not be real. And the kicker here is that since they cut the show right when Bryan started sitting up again after he'd been putting ice on his face, I'm wondering if there's going to be another match between Okada and Bryan. That will be at Full Gear. Now, it could still be he could have actually been hurt, because Okada did give him 2 rainmakers to the face along with an elbow, I believe. So I don't know. But if it is what I think it is, and it will be a vignette coming out or interview to Bryan Danielson about Okada hurting his face, he's going to want another match. Since Okada hurt his arm and now hurt his face, he wants so much revenge, he doesn't care. But this is just me. Peace.